So this is from Dawgs By Nature. Best and worst case scenarios for the Browns the rest of the season. Best case scenario: one, young players like DeJuan Jones, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Cedric Tillman play well enough to answer questions on the roster. Team shows effort and heart on the field instead of making business decisions, and as much losing as possible. Yeah, I don't know about that one, but okay, I get where they're going. Higher draft pick. Worst case scenario: veterans late in their careers or on one-year deals prioritized over younger players. Team matches the fans' apathy with their effort on the field, winning enough games to drop out of the top 10 in the upcoming NFL draft, but not enough to make playoff talk at least a possibility, which would require pretty much winning out. Um, yeah, I get the developing young players. The problem with that is every year is so drastically different. You know, there's no guarantee that guys that are playing really well now are going to play really well at the beginning of next year, but you do have to do evaluations on them.
Yeah, I think you do, especially at positions of concern like wide receiver. Are you more? Is it benefit you more to play Elijah Moore rather than Jamari Thrash? Like there are spots I would prefer to see some young players, but I think something that we have agreed about through this process is like they can't afford to revert to old habits of giving away football games. Now, maybe injury puts them in the position that they have to do that because they have no other choice. Maybe you're looking a little more at like Dallas's context or something of that nature, but they're at the point where I think the culture of the organization should be that we're prioritizing winning over everything else, which Kevin Stefanski echoed on Monday with it. He said, reasons 1 through 100 we're going at the last half of the season is to win football games. I don't disagree with that. Listen, I certainly think when you get to the like week 17, 18 area and you're looking at what draft spot you could end up ultimately being at, I think you can start to get into some of those discussions about does it do us any good to win this game, right? You can, and I've always said tanking doesn't happen from the players, it happens from those above them and the coaching staff and the front office either holding guys out of the game or putting them in position to lose by just kind of being sly about it. But I think that coming out of this, where I stand pretty concretely is that yeah, you really can't win. I don't want to say it's not impossible here. We've seen 1-5, 1-6 teams battle back to have a at 500 or above 500 record, but they need to split this thing in 2 seasons. I mean, they need to go out and win 5 ball games of the last 8 games, right? They need to be over 500 to push themselves into feeling like, oh yeah, we are pretty good when all of the elements around us are, not playing out the way that we put ourselves into a hole the first half of the year. Like when this, and that's like a larger discussion that's been happening is about the quality of the roster. This is a team that's good enough to win when they stay out of their own way consistently, and the surrounding elements they do a good job of taking advantage of. So I just think that with the Browns' history, with some of these players on this roster, core players for a long time have been around some of that negative culture. They need to win. They need to win and let this stuff in the offseason, the draft pick stuff solve itself. But I certainly think splitting this at we're at 0-0 and trying to have a winning record the second of the year should be the goal, because you don't want guys who are, core parts of this thing in the future to get comfortable with giving away football games. I just don't think that's a place the Browns want to be anymore. And I don't think there's a quarterback in this draft who demands you do that. Now, if there was an Andrew Luck or there was a Joe Burrow or some of these others who have been, and I understand the results haven't been great for Caleb Williams or Trevor Lawrence, but you get why teams would do that. Like there's not that guy in this draft, in my opinion, who sort of begets the decision to go that route. So I would prefer that they come out with the idea of we're winning every game the rest of the schedule and play that way and get some of those results, because I do think that if you're keeping everybody around for another year, it springboards you into this offseason and then can push you into feeling really good and confident again about your next year.